me from Vancouver, British Columbia area is Grant Brown. Grant is the Vice President for Global Marketing at Corvus Energy Limited. And they just announced that they have successfully won a contract to now equip 3 additional car ferries with their hybrid battery system. And we want to find out about that. I like to tell people, Grant, and by the way, welcome to EV World.
Well, thanks for having me, Bill.
Yeah, I like to tell people that we talk about everything at EV World, from bikes to buses to boats.
Sure, yeah. Well, we've got some big boats.
and now we're talking about boats. So that's great. And this is an opportunity to so if you will, go to the horse's mouth and find out about this announcement. The announcement basically is that Scanlon, which is a ferry operator in Scandinavia,
Denmark,
it is going to equip 3 additional ferries that they operate with a hybrid, upgrade them to hybrid electric. So, and you guys are providing the battery system for them. So, let's start with who's Scanlines?
Well, Scanlines is one of the largest ferry operators in the Scandinavian area. Based in Denmark, I believe they're in, I think Puttgarden, I believe is the name of the city.
Okay,
anyway,
all right.
Puttgarden is a major route between Denmark and Germany. And Scanlines has been operating there for quite some time. They're not only operating there, but they're operating all around Scandinavia. If you're aware of the geography of the region, Scandinavia has a lot of water routes. And so there's a lot of fjords and a lot of water crossings that they need to, instead of providing bridges, the traditional way has always been to provide a ferry route.
Right.
Also in Scandinavia and in a lot of the northern European countries, the price of fuel is very, very expensive. And so what these companies have been doing, I mean, Scanlines is not alone in this. There are several other large companies looking at this technology as well. But what they've been doing is they've been actually working on efficiencies of their vessels for decades. And basically, they've come to the point where they can't get any more efficient in the vessel design. So the hull that's in the water, dragging against the water, has actually become as efficient as you can make it for a vessel that's 750 feet long. The other thing is that they're really looking for now is efficiencies in the drive systems. They're also very interested in reducing emissions. The vessels and the commercial marine industry has traditionally not had any emission controls put on them at all. And the reason for that is because it's vital for trade. They don't want to do anything to stymie the growth of economics in the regions, and that's a natural. You know, port operations, unfortunately, have become the dirtiest polluters that have been unregulated up until now. So in addition to hybrid technology, they're looking at exhaust scrubbers and that type of thing.
Okay.
But the really interesting thing with the hybrid technology, and the reason why it's become so popular and it's been of interest for so long, is that the economics of it make a lot of sense. When you put a scrubber on a drive system on a vessel, all of a sudden you're impeding the efficiency of the system. So you go from having just the exhaust blasting straight out into the atmosphere to having a restrictor on that. And so that actually requires an increase in fuel consumption and a decrease in efficiency of the engines. With our system, because you're actually removing the amount of energy that's being produced by the generators on board, these are all diesel electric vessels, the generators can either be taken offline or they can be altogether, or they can be reduced in size. By doing that, you're actually reducing the amount of fuel that's burned, number one, and secondly, you're reducing the low load times. Now, it's really interesting because most people are unaware of this, and that is that a vessel or a diesel generator will actually burn around the same or slightly more fuel, it's called grams per kilowatt hour, I believe, of energy produced at low load. So if you've got a big diesel engine, you want that thing running about 3,000 RPM is on average the optimal RPM. what we can do is provide the propulsion for the vessel at low load operation. So in and out of the harbor, maneuvering for light transit times, those types of things can all be run on batteries now. Then, when they need to do a big propulsion push, say maybe getting up to speed or whatever, if they're against a strong headwind, then they can actually turn on the diesel generators again, or when the batteries become depleted, which of course they will.
Yeah.
Once that happens, then they can now run the diesel generators at the perfect optimal RPM, put a quick charge into the batteries, and then shut them off again. It really makes a lot of sense. And doing that, they're saving millions of dollars in fuel.
Okay, well, so that's what I wanted to sort of understand, because in reading the press release, I wasn't quite sure whether you were just simply providing, for want of a better term, hotel load, where you've got, because all these vessels, as I understand it, have multiple generators and engines in them, some of which are used for propulsion purposes, others of which are used for backup emergency power in the event something goes down. So what you're saying is that this is not a small battery bank. This is 2.7
2.7 megawatt hours.
2.7 megawatt hours. This is like a huge grid storage, actually 2 grid storage units in the vessel. So this is a big unit.
We believe this is the biggest battery that's ever been put on a vessel to date.
I could easily believe that. So you've got this huge unit. So it's not only providing to run the lights, to provide electricity for the navigation systems and all the other systems that are on the vessel. It's also then providing propulsion power while it's maneuvering to get up into the offloading area, maneuvering out through the harbor and things like that.
Basically anywhere where there's low loads. There's another interesting aspect of it, and you just touched on that briefly, is that the emergency backup power. It's known as in the industry as spinning reserve. Okay. And so basically in a passenger vessel of this type, because it's carrying about 1,200 people on board and on any given day, unlike traditional commercial vessels, which would just be carrying merchandise or goods, anything that's got dangerous goods or human lives on board has to have spinning reserve running all the time.
Oh, okay.
That's basically to provide emergency backup power instantly. So if you could imagine the vessel may be running on 4 very large diesel gensets, and I forgive me, I don't have the exact size of those on hand right now.
That's all right.
It'll be using the capacity of those 4 diesel generators for propulsion, but the spinning reserve means that they have to have an additional 4 running at idle. So they're sitting there, they're not connected to the drive line at all, they're just standing by ready to go should the mains fail. And so in that press release, I think there was a bit of a mention to the fact that we did a test on board, and that is the engineers on board, they actually shut off, they took the main diesel gensets offline. And suddenly, just with a circuit breaker, they just shut them off, took them off the DC bus, and then the batteries kicked in instantly. It's a huge load. It's unheard of to be able to take that kind of load out of any kind of a battery and not have very bad things happen. And the Corvus Energy batteries have been designed to do that. I mean, we can put out what's known as a 10C discharge rate. So basically, that's the capacity of the battery in about 6 minutes. If you can imagine a 2.7 megawatt hour battery releasing its energy, that basically works out to providing 27 megawatts of power in a burst. Yeah. So that's a huge load of energy. Of course, that's not the best thing to do for the batteries or for the systems on board.
Sure.
So that would be an emergency situation only when you'd have to do that. Typically, we could take out about a 6C discharge rate and not have any ill effects at all.
Right. Well, let's talk about your piece of this thing. You guys are the battery suppliers, and I gather that you manufacture these cells, or excuse me, or are you the integrator of cells that you acquire and then develop these huge systems for these ferries?
Well, I can give you a quick background and sort of overview on what Corvus does. We were founded to provide batteries. Energy storage is what we like to call it.
Okay.
A battery seems to have a bit of a negative connotation these days. We're founded to provide energy storage for hybrid propulsion systems for vessels. So right from the get-go, we decided that we were going to build a product that was going to be more robust than anything else on the planet. And we've done that. Our product is the only one that's been certified by Lloyd's, DNV, and the American Bureau of Shipping. So we've got extremely high tolerances and extremely high validation from third-party, unbiased organizations that do nothing but that.
Right.
We started off by developing this product, and at the time we realized that there was nothing out there on the market that was available. So we searched for a cell manufacturer. Now, we didn't want to actually manufacture the cells because we believe that the battery technology is growing so fast that we needed to be what we call cell agnostic or technology agnostic.
Right.
If there is for example, some sort of crazy zinc, sodium, air cell comes out and it becomes a viable, safe, powerful technology, we will adopt that. Right. But right now, lithium polymer with nickel, manganese, cobalt cathode is the most safe and the most powerful and the most viable battery out there. And it's always a matter of balancing all three. You know, you need to have safe, you need to have reliable, and it needs to be affordable. And so we believe that we found that. The cells are actually manufactured in America. We don't buy offshore cells at all.
Okay.
Our cells are manufactured in Michigan. A company that used to be called Dow Cocam has now been taken over by a company called Exalt. And they're all American-made in a state-of-the-art factory, and they are actually the best ones on the planet. You can't buy a better battery cell anywhere. So that's the real core of it. Where our secret sauce comes in is the battery management technology and how we package it. And we have a bunch of patents around this stuff. But basically what we've done is we've taken a really high-quality cell, and we've arranged them in a way that allows them to be extremely durable. So you could drop our batteries off the roof of a building and they will still work. You could submerge them in water for I believe it's half an hour at 3 meters, and they will still work. There will be no penetration of water. They are what they call, I think it's 8G, 5-axis continuous vibration. So if you can imagine something being shaken in 5-axis at 8G for 72 hours, that's what our batteries are capable of having.
Okay, all right.
Now, to put that in perspective, the U.S. military spec for vibration testing is 4G.
Oh, so it's double that, yeah.
Yeah, the human body can only withstand 6G. So if you've got an 8G event happening, you've got bigger problems than your batteries.
Yeah.
But we take all that, we package it in such a way that can handle all that, and then we add the special part of it, which is the battery management system. Each Corvus Energy battery actually has a computer built into every single one, and the computer monitors the cell temperature, it monitors the capacity of each individual cell, the voltage, the discharge rates. I think there's about 120 different data points that it collects. It communicates all these data points with the other batteries in the array, and then it communicates with the outside world. So every battery, right down to the cell level, and in this case in the Scanline's vessels, there's about 400 batteries in a 2.7 megawatt.
Okay, I was going to ask you that, yeah.
Yeah. They're all always going to be balanced. They're always going to be at the same temperature, and they're always going to age at the same rate. So that decay rate is what we really try and manage. Of course, we try and manage, we are the best at managing these systems, but the decay rate, of course, is something that basically refers to the longevity of the system. We're giving a 10-year warranty on this system, so we have to make darn sure that it's going to last for 10 years. But beyond that, what we really want to see is the batteries are going to last for 20, and that's what we're actually engineering for. So we warranty 100% full replacement warranty for 10 years, and then are confident that it will last for 20 in the field.
Okay.
So that battery management system is really the key. In the event that something catastrophic were to happen, say in a stationary application, you might have a forklift driver that hits the gas instead of the brake and runs the forklifts into the batteries. You don't want to have a lithium fire. Those are not very good things to have.
No, particularly at sea.
People found out. For the record, those are not our batteries.
Yeah.
The thing's going to shut themselves off. And there are, I believe, 4 levels of physical safety where our competitors might only have one, which would be a circuit breaker. So all these things combined make our batteries pretty much the safest thing on the planet. In fact, safer in a lot of cases than what you might find in a traditional lead-acid battery.
Right. Well, part of the decision that Scanlon had in equipping these additional 3 ferries with this system is the success that they had with the Princessa Benedicta, or however that's pronounced. Tell us a little bit about what their experiences have been. I'm curious as to what they have seen in the way of emissions reductions, improvements in fuel economy, if you can share that information.